Welcome to Crazy Mom TV. I am your host, Genesis Hay Crick. Does anybody feel a little bit spooked today? Because I sure do. Spooked about how everything is going to play out for Halloween. Oftentimes we have so much on our plate before we set out to figure out what we're going to do for Halloween, where we're going to go, how are we going to collect all this candy and make our kids happy, right? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some tips on how we can have a fun, successful Halloween night. And first and foremost, when we're picking out a Halloween costume, when we're trying to figure out what our kids are gonna wear, we've got so many different options, right? I mean, literally, like, these stores make it impossible for us to make a decision on how our kids are gonna dress, because they can be anything and everything. I like this one here. So, in order for us to kind of quicken the process and make things a little bit less challenging, I think we need to ask ourselves, what is easiest for us as moms? And of course we want our kids to be able to wear what they want to be, but at the same time, we want to make there be a little bit less pressure on ourselves to create the perfect costume. I've talked to a lot of moms who decide to buy a costume, and I've talked to a lot that want to create one. And there's pros and cons to both behind which makes more sense depending on whether or not you like to be creative in that area or not. And one thing that I would just recommend in this specific topic is do what's easiest for you. And whatever makes the most sense in making that decision, go ahead and just go for it, because otherwise it can make everything else very difficult. And one thing I'll say is when I ask my kids what they want to be for Halloween, I've probably asked them about 10 times, and each time they'll tell me something different. So always just go with the first one, whatever that might be, and make the decision and then just go with it. And the sooner you can make that decision about going with a specific costume, the less stress you're gonna have. Because most of us decide to do this at the last minute, right? We decide, okay, we've got a week left. Are we gonna be able to buy a costume on Amazon? Is it gonna be able to get here in time? So make sure you have enough time to be able to get what you want in whatever capacity, in whatever way that you decide to do that. Number 2 is have a plan. Have a plan of action, how you'd like the night to go. A lot of moms, have a hard time deciding exactly where they want to take their kids, especially when you live in a suburban area or a city. You might think to yourself, gosh, there's so many different places that I could take my kids. There's a lot of candy out there. There's a lot of fun places that we could stop. So it's important to be able to, ahead of time, make a decision on where you want to go. So what I like to do with my kids is obviously to look for a safe spot and to decide on either 1 or 2 locations instead of trying to drive them all over the place, because that just creates more stress for everybody. And who wants to get in and out of the car a bunch of times? I can tell you when my children were, and they still are, but when my firstborn was very, very young, we would drive around and try to go to every single spot that we could think of. And it was hard with the car seat, let me tell you, especially in cold weather. The last thing you want to do is to bundle them up and then go out into the weather and have to deal with the bitter cold, the in and outness of it. So depending on where you live, that makes a difference. We're in Florida, so we don't have to worry about that, bundling up. But on the other hand, if you're up north, that can make a huge difference for you. So something to consider. And the last point is be ready to eat a lot of chocolate, because we as busy moms and moms that have so much on our plate tend to forget about some of the other things that go along with Halloween. So obviously don't overindulge to the point where you're gonna throw up, but make sure you have a little bit of fun yourself. And that's what we really need to do, is remember that it's a fun night for us all to be able to enjoy together. And we don't wanna look like this guy here with this face where we're just so tired and so sick of it all. We want to be like this, happy, a little bit crazy, a little bit excited, and ultimately having a great time. So remember to be safe, enjoy yourself, and thank you for tuning in to Crazy Mom TV today. Remember, we are here every single Wednesday. We've got a new segment. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button.